Sir, it's great to have you on. What's your reaction when you heard this deal? No one really knows what the deal is. The details, we're being kept in the dark about it. Can Republicans challenge this in court?
Well, first of all, great to be on the show. As someone who is a former assistant United States attorney, I find it pretty appalling that this is a deal that they have cut. The 9/11 families are exactly right. I mean, we're talking about Khalid Sheikh Mohammed here. This is a guy who deserved a bullet in the head, right? I mean, there's nothing that you can say other than the fact that this guy never should have been able to take a plea deal. He should have been able to get fully sentenced and then executed if that were the will of the jury, which I assume that's probably what would have happened. This is weakness. This is the projected weakness that is causing our enemies, frankly, to laugh at us and to want to come in and frankly, negotiate to get these hostages, right? I am so delighted that we've gotten the Wall Street Journal reporter back, that we've gotten the Marine back. But at the end of the day, we're projecting weakness. And so who do we give up? We gave up hackers. We gave up spies. And now we're encouraging Russia and the rest of the world to target us because we're cutting these deals and giving a plea deal to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. It's a slap in the face of the 9/11 victims, but it also undermines our national security going forward. It's continued weakness by an administration that, remember, Kamala Harris said, oh, we can't say a radical Islamic terrorism back in 2016. The fact is, there is radical Islamic terrorism. It killed 3,000 Americans. It's endangering us right now. Iran is empowered. The administration is undermining Israel. And this is just more projected weakness. It's why the election is so important in November.
I mean, the 9/11 Commission report said Islamic terrorism. It was all over the 9/11 Commission report. I mean, there are families out there in a lot of pain that this looks like they're being kept in the dark when their lives have been changed. We've got families without parents. But, parents without children. So let's get back to, so they can't take a victory lap on that, right? They can't take a victory lap on the prisoner swap with Russia because Trump is saying, where are the details? How many are we releasing back to Russia? Are we paying Russia any money? I mean, Chuck Grassley is saying we had to, like you're saying, we had to trade spies, criminals, and an assassin for innocent Americans. And Kamala is finally talking, but she's taking a victory lap on this too. What do you think?
Well, let's remember that we actually had to give up and give away an arms dealer in order to get back a WNBA member who was smoking weed or had some sort of pot over in Russia. That's our priorities right now. And now you've got these deals getting cut where we gave away, I think, 8 people, spies, hackers, etc. We don't have the details yet. We need to. Literally the day after, we cut a deal, a plea deal, with the guy who masterminded killing 3,000 Americans. This is a very clear signal from the administration. They have no interest in actually standing up for our nation, but importantly, Western civilization, against radical Islamic terrorism that wants to undermine our security, to stand up and make sure we send a strong signal abroad. This is just more of the same. It's the same thing, by the way, that leaves open borders where we have massive numbers of terrorists coming into our own communities, where we have 35,000 Chinese nationals coming in, where Laken Riley got killed by somebody who was released on parole, where we have members of all sorts of dangerous organizations like FARC coming into America. And just yesterday, we had 1,000 people who allegedly, according to Border Patrol, were green-lighted to shoot our law enforcement who are affiliated with Tren de Aragua, which is a violent gang from Venezuela. Okay. That is the legacy of this administration, endangering the American people.
And now we have the Mideast potentially on the brink of a wider conflict.
Yep.
I mean, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, gave the order to strike Israel directly. It could be more, drones and missile strikes that Israel took out last April when, Iran's embassy was bombed in Syria. But, Israel is being said to have taken out the top Hamas political leader inside Iran less than 24 hours after the military commander of Hezbollah was killed in Lebanon. And also last month, they took out the guy who was the mastermind of the 10/7 terror attack on Israel. So Are you worried about the White House's policy on Iran here, releasing, basically giving them access to tens of billions of dollars?
Yeah, no question. I remember, go back to Barack Obama, who dismissed that our lifting of sanctions on Iran would cause any sorts of problems in the Middle East or empower Iran. He was wrong. God bless Israel for taking out the head of Hamas. We must stand alongside Israel. This administration is undermining Israel. They're not standing alongside Israel. The fact is, we've been lifting all the sanctions on Iran. We've been empowering Iran. That's on this administration. And Kamala Harris, she knows it. She's been a part of it. And that's on the ballot this November.
Congressman Chip Roy, a pleasure having you on. Chip Roy, Congressman from House Judiciary.